Welcome to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry. Today, I'm speaking with Albert van der Veen, CEO of XD Connects, a global supplier based in Netherlands. Albert's company was the winner of Counselor's inaugural Sustainability Advocate of the Year award, thanks to their work measuring the lifetime emissions of the products that they offer. Thanks for joining us today, Albert.
Good morning, Teresa.
So, you've said that 2022 was a milestone year for XD Connects when it comes to your ESG journey. Can you talk a little bit about why that was?
Yes, 2022 was indeed a very exciting year. Next to two acquisitions we did that year, we also did a name change from Sindao to XD Connects. And the reason for changing this name was that in 2021, we decided strategically to embed ESG in our, let's say, business strategy. And with a Chinese name for a company that would not reflect our ambition on, let's say, low impact / sustainability.
Yeah. So obviously, the award that we're giving out is called the Sustainability Advocate of the Year, but I know that you don't like the term sustainability and actually forbid it in your company. So
Correct.
Talk a little bit about why you don't like it and then what you guys use instead.
Yeah, now we use lower impact because every product we all are selling, nothing is sustainable on itself. It still has an impact on the planet, a CO2 impact. Every company worldwide, if you read the news, if you watch television, everybody's using sustainability. So first of all, it becomes a 13 in a dozen word. It's not really getting into you. And secondly, as said, nothing is sustainable on itself. It always has an impact. So if we would be sustainable, then we should close down our industry and would not sell any piece. But okay, we have to do so and then make it as low impact as possible. And that is the reason why sustainability is forbidden. It just is a lower impact product.
Yeah. So I know you guys spent a lot of time developing your life cycle analysis kind of tool to measure the impact of the products. Can you talk a little bit about what made you decide to do that and kind of how that process went?
Yeah, the process went is already, I think, for 10, 15 years, our industry, not only our industry, but let's focus on our industry, we use all kind of recycled materials. Recycled polyester is nothing new. That was already 10 years ago. We also had recycled polyester bags. In our industry specifically, we all use that if something is made out of, I don't know, coffee pulp or whatever, and then we call it's sustainable. But how can you say, maybe it is, maybe not, but how can you say something is sustainable? Well, you don't know the CO2 impact, because maybe by producing an item made out of rest materials of coffee or maize or whatever we have, maybe it's even a higher CO2 output. So, and that is the reason why we say, okay, if we say and state and claim that products in our catalog is made out of lower impact materials, that means that you use less CO2, then we have to prove it. So as soon as you cannot prove it, you cannot claim it. And then it is misleading, and then it is greenwashing. So we decided to say, okay, if we claim something, if we say something, if we are the advocate of saying, yeah, our products are lower impact, the only way, if we say so, we need to have the proof that it is really true. So we have a benchmark CO2. Let's say a product is made out of virgin materials. Let's say the CO2 is 1. And if we use a different lower impact materials, then first we need to calculate via a life cycle analysis tool from cradle to grave, also important to mention, that has to prove that this product made from lower impact materials has less CO2 than with virgin. If that is not the case, we cannot call it a lower impact product. We cannot call it a more sustainable product. So that is the reason why we really went seriously in an LCA tool and CO2 output per product.
Yeah. So cradle to grave, that means like from the materials,
From production to the end of life.
Yeah, yeah. And then all of that is actually published on the website and on your catalog, so like people can see like what the CO2 emissions are. And why is being transparent about that important to your ESG efforts?
A couple of reasons, but I think you have to be transparent. I think we are not the decision maker of the final product. So that is an end user. It's also not our reseller. Maybe they can push a certain product, but it's an end user who decides which, let's say, take a bottle, a water bottle they will take. So normally they have a budget, they need an X amount of pieces, and in the end they maybe get 2, 3, 4 proposals from a reseller, from a distributor, and then they select on price and design, right? And we want to give them a third element, is also the CO2 emission of that product, so that they are aware by transparency, by seeing that bottle A for the same price, for the same quality is, let's say, 1 kilo CO2, but the other bottle in the presentation is maybe half a kilo CO2, and the third bottle is maybe 2 kilo CO2. That besides price and design, there's a third element where the end user can make his decision and can also he has an impact on the planet, on the CO2 himself, by choosing the right product, and not only on price and design. And that is the reason why transparently we also state the CO2 emission of that particular product.
Yeah, I mean, we're also used to seeing like the price up front, but like the CO2, the impact, I mean, that is kind of the price on our planet, I guess. And it kind of makes sense to put that forward and make that a consideration right away, as opposed to, I think like what a lot of people do now, it's like after the fact, it's like, oh, well, we can't do anything about it. But if we're trying to make a change, we need to kind of publish that and think about that from the very beginning.
Already in the quotation phase, indeed. So I think that's very important, because end users do not realize it. Today, also our resellers, the main companies, resellers, they are able to sell on price. But if you tell the story about the quality, innovation, and also the impact on the Mother Earth, I think it's very important. And then you need to have transparency in that also. And as long as you don't do it, end users, they are misled by claims maybe which are not true. And if you have then larger end users, let's say listed companies, and if they also buy something because they believe that what the reseller or a supplier is telling them, but afterwards it's not the truth, then maybe you have to do a recall, it's bad publicity, maybe their shares are dropping on the stock exchange, etc., etc. So I think it's really the way going forward. I think new generations are coming, new generations will be the decision makers with end users, and I think they are much more into lower impact, CO2 emissions, and etc. than, let's say, our generations, and then I speak for myself as a 50 years old man.
Yeah. So, obviously you guys have done a lot of work so far with ESG, but it is a process. What kind of progress have you made so far, like on this roadmap, and then what comes next?
Yeah, so let's say we started in 2021 with introducing our first, let's say, low impact collection, 20 products, including traceability. Because only on the blue eyes of our maker, who says that it's really made out of recycled cotton or recycled polyester, unfortunately, we cannot trust that. So we put physical traces in our products, so we can fiber forward traceability. So we know in the end also that the product is made out of the yarns, including the tracer. Now we are now 2024. We have a roadmap of our product portfolio, which have to be lower impact by 2030 for, let's say, 95%, preferable 100%. Today, we are ahead of that roadmap. We are around 81% of our complete collection today is already made out of lower impact materials. So there's a huge progress. We have next steps. So for each product, we have the CO2. For each product today, we have also the benchmark CO2, because we also experience that, for an end user and for actually every individual, if a bottle or a bag or a pen, it says, okay, it is 1 kilo CO2. Is it a lot? Is it not a lot? You don't know that. So we now also have the benchmark CO2 if the product would not have been made out of lower materials. So you say, oh, normally it would have been 1.5 kilo CO2, but now it's 1 kilo CO2. So that's the step we already have now in progress or delivered. We are, this year, we invest a lot in digital product passports, not only supply chain mapping, but that you really see the blockchain verification in digital product passports. That we're going to roll out the rest of this year for every soft items. We started to do it in textiles and wearables and apparel. We also have it now in all our caps and bags and aprons and umbrellas, etc. That we will roll out from January 2025 until December 2025 for all our goods, so including the hard goods. That means that every product will come with a QR code. When you scan the QR code, you see the whole supply chain mapping. You see also the CO2 values. You see the energy used, where it is produced, and etc. So the complete transparency for every product in our catalog. And we are working on, but that takes really time, but the project has been started to come within 2 years with a complete plastic-free packaging for all our products. And this is really what the customers see, right? So, but we do so many things behind the scenes of our own behavior, our traveling, our energy use, scope 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Scope 3 is 90% of the CO2 output. Scope 1 and 2 is a little bit less, but it's low-hanging fruit, which we can also do better. So, and also we have a lot of social targets. It's all part of our ESG plan. But in principle, what the customer is seeing and end user seeing is more the product portfolio and everything related to that.
Right. So, I mean, kind of zooming out to the promotional products industry as a whole, how do you think that we're doing in terms of becoming lower impact and caring about these things? Have you noticed a change with everyone, or is it still are you guys still kind of outliers in what you're doing?
No, I see that it is that the last 2 years our industry is taking it more serious. I still find it 99% greenwashing, maybe with all the good intentions. So I'm not negative about suppliers or resellers who claiming to be sustainable. I think that's a good direction, but I only want to encourage them to only claim something when you really know it is a lower CO2 impact, and that's still not the case. And it is also quite difficult. We have a whole team here, a whole department doing nothing else than calculating per product the LCA CO2. So it's a huge job, a huge investment in resources and the financials. But so that is going the right way. But I only want to encourage them to also take the next step. I feel that in Europe we are more sensitive for lower impact sustainability than today North America is. I visited the Las Vegas show in January. I saw that almost every supplier, every booth had something with a green planet or low impact or sustainability, but not a real deal yet, according to our conditions. So it is also coming there. I think that our industry, the coming 5 years, it will go faster than the last 5 years. That today we still have let's say 1-2 years ahead, but I think it will be market practice in 2 to 3 years. My personal vision, and I can be completely wrong, the market decides that also laws will enforce us to go this direction, and that greenwashing claims you cannot do anymore because it will be punished by laws. That will help, that you see already with H&M, who makes claims which are forbidden by the European Union and etc. And they get big
Right.
claims. So that also in the end will happen with end users. Take a Microsoft, take a Volvo, take a Ford, take whatever the huge companies. Yeah, they can also not afford to buy, let's say, promotional products which are not contributing to a cleaner planet. So my vision is that it goes that direction, lead by, let's say, companies like us, but also pulled by companies like the top Fortune 500 and listed companies, and also forced by governmental laws. Yeah, and that's my hope that everybody will go that direction.
Right, right. So that, what you guys are doing right now, it is kind of a point of distinction, but maybe someday this will just be sort of like the way business is done.
That's how I see it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Albert. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right. Thanks.